Hey guys, what is going on? Nutri's here with my fantasy outlook from week 4. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put a lot of time into this. I already recorded take 1, and and it didn't go well. So here's take 2. Take 1 to you guys though. Um, so yeah, this is my fantasy outlook for week 4. Stardom, Situm, waiver ads, who to drop, buy low and sell high candidates. So for our stardom stand, we're going to start with QBs. My start of the week is Jared Goff versus the Giants, 10th overall defense, which is not that bad, but the Giants are really bad. I mean, we let Nick Mullins destroy us. Goff had 24 and 27 in his last 2. He's been on fire. I think he's an easy start, and he's available on a lot of waivers, so why not let him rip? Russell Wilson, that's obviously a home run versus Miami. He's the number 1 ranked QB. Aaron Rodgers versus Atlanta. He's a 32nd ranked. They're the 32nd ranked defense. Really bad defense. Rodgers is going to have a field day. So is Aaron Jones. Matt Ryan versus Green Bay. Falcons are angry. Matt Ryan's sick of losing. Why not put him in there? I can't imagine you'll have many people better to start. I think he's a great start for this week. Stafford versus New Orleans. That's going to be a shootout. Let it rip. New Orleans doesn't have a great passing defense, so why not? And my sleeper kind of start for this week is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Seattle stinks at covering the pass, so I would start him. I made the mistake of starting Gardner Minshew last week, who's my sit of the week this week. And I should have picked up Fitzpatrick instead. He ended up being great. So I would try him. He gets some rushing yards. He low-key gets some rushing touchdowns, so why not? Ryan Fitzpatrick's a good start for this week. My sits, sit of the week, Gardner Minshew versus Cincinnati. They're the 7th ranked defense. They're really good against the pass, believe it or not. He was also really bad his last start. So I think Minshew Mania is coming to an end. Don't feel good about starting him at all. I just made a trade for him last week, and I am benching him for Matt Ryan. Do not even bother. I also have Cam Newton. We saw what Kansas City did to Lamar. It wasn't very good. Cam Newton also struggled last start, so feel free to bench him for sure. He's not the worst start, like if you have somebody better, but odds are you don't. I would just bench him and pick up somebody from the waivers like Fitzpatrick or Goff. Another sit, Carson Wentz versus San Fran. He's awful, man. Wentz stinks. As a Giant fan, I can't say this enough. I don't even hate on the guy. He just purely stinks. Philly's terrible. Their situation's awful. They tied last week versus Cincy. Just sit him. Ryan Tannehill versus Pittsburgh. Tannehill I like a lot, but Pittsburgh's defense is just good, man. I don't trust any QB versus them. And Tannehill's not a guy who's like groundbreaking, you know. I would definitely sit him, try to get somebody better. Herbert, some people might want to start him, but I would say sit because Tampa's like one of the best defenses in the league versus the pass. They're second. And Herbert hasn't had to face anyone good except for the Chiefs. I mean, he faced the Chiefs who were good, but they didn't have a great game against them. I don't think I'd start him. I wouldn't start Keenan either. Ben Roethlisberger versus Tennessee. I wanted to get another name on here for Sidham, but he's not that bad of a start. But I definitely would not start him if you have somebody better. Tennessee's a very good defense as well, and they're going to be running the ball a lot with Connor. They have been. They did it a lot last week too. For my running backs, the start of the week is Alvin Kamara. That's obviously a home run, but I'm thinking he's going to drop like 50 again versus Detroit. It's going to be crazy. Definitely start him. I mean, you're obviously gunning no matter what, but I had to put him there as the start of the week. If it wasn't him, it'd be Connor. That's why I put Connor right below. So Connor is like my home run start as well. Tennessee has a weak-ranked run defense, and they're going to be running the ball a lot. Connor's been on fire. He kind of put that Benny Snell pressure to rest. He's obviously the better running back, so yeah. Joe Mixon, this is a tough one. His value can't be any lower right now, but I would start him versus Jacksonville. 20th ranked defense. They have a good pass defense, so I wouldn't bother starting like some of their receivers. I think Mixon's going to have a good day, and if he doesn't, then honestly, give up on him. Like, this is like his last chance. Kenyon Drake, I think this is the week he has the breakout versus Carolina, like we saw him at the end of last year. He's a really good player, and he hasn't broke out yet, and Carolina has a really bad rush defense. I would feel great about starting Kenyon Drake. Robinson, we saw the breakout last week, 30 points, 30 point something versus whoever he faced. I think it was they played another bad team last week, Thursday night, Miami. Cincinnati's bad too, so feel free. Robinson, he's going to be great. Definitely flex him or even start him in your RB2 slot, whatever you want. Todd Gurley versus Green Bay, another bad rushing defense. He's been better. Gurley will get his touchdown. It's just a matter of time. I think Gurley needs to have one of those big days for fantasy owners to start feeling more confident in him. He hasn't had one of those vintage like 100-yard days yet. We got to see it happen. I think Green Bay's the week we might see it happen, like a 20-point week. Melvin Gordon versus the Jets. Melvin's been pretty good this year. He was bad last week, but he's been pretty good overall. Jets are really bad. They're going to have a bum QB in. I think it's like Brett somebody starting on Thursday. So feel free starting Melvin. He might not be the best, but definitely start him. He'll get you at least 10. I think he's going to get at least a touchdown. I would feel good about like just locking him in there. And Singletary, he's definitely on the rise. Start him 100%. Las Vegas is the last ranked defense in the league versus the rush, and Moss is like done for. So Singletary, I feel really good about. Sit of the week, Ronald Jones. If you have him, get rid of him. He stinks. He's done. He's fading more and more into the wind. And it doesn't help that the Chargers have a great run defense too. He's just a horrible start. Easily my sit of the week. I would also sit Miles Sanders. San Fran's going to just purely dominate them. They're the second ranked D. So I would definitely sit him. I know he's like a big-time running back, but if you have somebody better, try to start him instead. Then I also put Kareem Hunt versus Dallas. It's hard to bench either of the Cleveland running backs, but Dallas is a great defense, and I know Chubb is like a must-start in almost every league, so I would bench Kareem if I had to pick one of them. Myles Gaskin versus Seattle. Seattle does guard the D well, even though they don't guard the pass well at all. So I don't think Gaskin's that great a start. He might get receptions, so he's not like the worst start, but like I wouldn't feel good about starting him. We have a lot of guys in the stardom category that you should start over him. David Montgomery versus Indiana. See, like they're the 5th ranked D. Montgomery hasn't really been good other than the Giants game. I don't feel good about him at all. He's another guy I would probably sell. Antonio Gibson versus Baltimore, that could have been sit of the week as well. It's going to be bad. Don't even bother touching him versus that defense. He hasn't been good anyways, and all the hype around him was for no reason. I don't know why fantasy owners got hyped about Antonio Gibson. He's trash. For receivers, my start of the week is Tyreek Hill. He's another guy who's like kind of like a home run already. So like you might not think of him as a start of the week. If not, just like with the running backs, slot Devontae Parker up there as my start of the week. Devontae Parker is going against the 32nd ranked Seattle pass defense for wide receivers. He's going to have a really good week. Him and Fitzpatrick are going to connect. I know it. This is the week you got to start him. And then I put Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods versus the Giants. The Giants are just that bad. Both of those receivers are elite. Feel good about starting either one of them. They're going to get you at least 15 points each, I want to say. That's just if you're an owner of any Rams this week, you're happy. Darrell Henderson, like I didn't put him in my starts, but he could definitely start if you need depth. Like the Giants are just that bad. Amari Cooper versus Cleveland. I think this is his week to break out. CD and Gallup aren't bad starts either, but Cooper is definitely like the best out of all of them, so I would put him over all them. Then you have Will Fuller versus Minnesota. Minnesota's a 29th ranked passing defense versus wide receivers. Will Fuller, I think, is definitely taking over as the number 1 again. He had a big week last week. Brandon Cooks is going to fade away again. I think if Fuller's healthy, you got to use him while he's healthy because he's not healthy for long. So, yeah. Alan Lazard versus Atlanta, 30th ranked passing defense versus wide receivers. He proved last week that he's like the number 1 when Adams isn't there. I'm one of the idiots who started MVS. Screw that guy. But honestly, Alan Lazard has value even when Adams is there. I think he's a good start this week. Jarvis Landry versus Dallas, they're 31st. I don't feel too great about OBJ. I feel better about Jarvis just because he's drawing less coverage. I think this is going to be a big Jarvis Landry week. And then my sit of the week is Julian Edelman versus KC. They're the 1st ranked defense versus wide receivers. Look what they just did to Hollywood Brown. Don't even bother starting Edelman. I know you might need to, but just don't. There's got to be somebody better, like maybe Lazard or Landry, that you can get something else to go with than that. Like I said, though, I can't list like a giant list of everybody I think you should start and sit. So if you guys have any questions and you want to know like who should I start instead of Edelman out of these guys, let me know. I can definitely help you. I put Tyler Boyd and AJ Green versus Jackson, the 9th ranked versus receivers. I think Burrow's going to struggle in this game. I think it's going to be the Joe Mixon show. I would sit them. I wouldn't feel comfortable starting them at all. I'd feel better about AJ than Boyd, but neither of them really. Robbie versus Arizona, second-ranked pass defense. I think this is going to be the week DJ Moore is going to have to do something. I don't think Robbie's going to do good versus that defense. I wouldn't even bother. They're really good against receivers. Marquise Brown versus Washington. They're seventh. He just got basically shut out against the Chiefs. I don't feel good about him at all this year. He's just such a hit or miss, and I just, if you guys can trade him and get value, trade him. He's not great. Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones is like, he's a great receiver, but they're a good defense. I wouldn't bother starting him this week. Galladay's back. I think Hawkins is gonna have a big week. I would sit him. I wouldn't feel too great about it. And John Brown, he's like a bust, like complete bust. I would not want to start him at all versus that defense. Tight ends, I have T.J. Hawkinson versus New Orleans as my start of the week. They're the 32nd rank against tight ends. He's a great tight end, great young tight end. He's been doing pretty good so far this season. I think they're definitely going to connect. That game's going to be a shootout. He's at least going to get a score. I also put Logan Thomas as a start. I think Redskins are going to have to throw that ball early and fast. I think he's going to be the beneficiary of that. He's been getting a lot of targets at the tight end position. Dalton Schultz as well has been getting a lot of targets. Feel good about starting him versus Cleveland. That's going to be a shootout again. Noah Fant versus the Jets. The Broncos don't have many bright spots right now. Judy's like an okay start, but Fant is like a home run. I mean, the Jets are so bad that I think even the Broncos are going to blow him out. So Hunter Henry versus Tampa Bay. He's kind of like an auto start every week, but like I know some teams have Hunter Henry and like let's say Gronk or something. Take Hunter Henry versus Tampa. I'd feel pretty good about it. He's been pretty solid with Herbert. Why not? And then Ertz. Ertz is usually a start every week, but with Goddard there, he hasn't been. I would start him this week, even though San Fran's really good. Goddard's out, so he's definitely going to get his receptions. Even if he doesn't score, he'll get you at least a few points. I think because tight end is the kind of position where if you get 10, you're happy, and I think Ertz can definitely do that for you this week. My sit of the week is Mike Gesicki. He kind of lowered the hype a little bit. He had a bad week last week, one reception for a touchdown. Seattle is good against the tight ends. Just don't even touch them. I think it's going to be the Parker and even Preston Williams show. Just leave it alone. I also have Sidham. Jared Cook, he's banged up. He's questionable. Don't touch him. Michael Thomas is probably back. He's going to take away a lot of those receptions. And then there's also Sanders and Traquan Smith. Don't even bother. Hayden Hurst, he also had a bad week. One reception, one touchdown last week. They're going to hopefully have Julio and Gage back, and then they're going to be throwing a lot, but I just don't see how he has that great of a week. I think there's better options out there to start. Same with Jonnu Smith. He's been good, but Pittsburgh is just great. I already have Tannehill as my sit. I'm going to put Jonnu with them. I think the only beneficiary from this week out of the Tennessee passing game could be Corey Davis. Well, we'll see. And then Evan Ingram versus the Rams. He's just been so bad, and you just can't trust the Giants offense anymore. Just sit him. He's a bust. For defense and kickers, I cannot stress this enough. The Rams versus Giants should be the number one defense picked up. If you are comfortable with your team, don't even waste your waiver on a running back. Go straight for the Rams as your number one waiver. I think they could be like a 20-point defense this week with how bad we've been. I need to fact check what the Niners got as far as points versus the Giants, but it has to be high because the Niners destroyed us like 36-9, and we are just so bad. They had 13 points versus the Giants, so like that's a good amount for a defense. So feel free rolling whoever is playing us, and the Rams already are a good team. So I also have the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Niners, the Broncos, and the Vikings. I don't have much to say on this other than they just have good matchups. I mean, defense is kind of a toss-up. I rank these like in the order that I think you should pick them up. So like, yeah, that's how I would go: Rams, Bengals, Cowboys, Ravens, 49ers, Broncos, Vikings. But these two are probably already taken. And then kickers, I have Blankenship. He had like 15 points last week, and then Gotskowski at 25. All the Giants do is kick. This is going to be a shootout game. Vikings versus Texans. Feel free about rolling him. And then Matt Prater, another shootout. Detroit versus New Orleans. So I think those kickers are pretty good. Waiver ads. Justin Jefferson had a great week. He's my number one waiver ad if you can get him. In all my leagues, he's taken, but apparently it's only 38%. So I would definitely grab him. Thielen and Diggs used to have that combo. I think it's going to be Jefferson and Diggs now, so feel free to grab them. Alan Lazard's already owned a lot, 50.9%, but if he's available, get him. He has value, a tremendous value with Adams hurt, and even still good value with Adams playing, so feel free to add him. And then Hunter Renfro's really low, 7.5%. He's like sketchy, but he's worth having. Like if Derek Carr and him keep building that connection, that could be their number one receiver. So why not? Greg Ward, 0.6%. The Eagles are awful, but he's somehow been a bright spot. If you really need it, add him. Brandon Ayuk and Anthony Miller. I feel great about both of these. Ayuk is probably the one you're more likely to get. First round pick. Debo's still hurt. Feel like good about adding him. He can slot in as a flex immediately if you need it. Same with Anthony Miller. The Fultz connection looked really good. I feel good about both of those guys. Those are like my two favorites. I'm gonna be going for Ayuk myself. Ebron and Graham as your tight ends. Both of them are pretty good. They're not great, but they could serve you if, like, let's say Kittle's out again or something like that. Ebron finally caught his first touchdown in a Steelers uniform, and it was a great one. I think he has so much talent. He's not going to be Indy Ebron, but he might be pretty good, and his percentage is low. And then Graham has had a connection with the Bears for some reason. He's been really good. So at Foles, he might be a home run. Then we have Carlos Hyde. I bolded this one. If he's playing, that should be an automatic pickup. If Carson's hurt, pick him up. Like that'll be the number one out of the week for sure because he'll get at least 15 points. And then I put Sony and Burkhead. They're not great, but they could be starting running backs. It depends who the Pats decide to roll with. So either one of them are worth the risk if you have like a crappy player on your bench. Like these three right here, Dion Lewis, MVS, and Traquan Smith, just drop them now. Adams is probably back, so this guy's worthless. Thomas is back, so this guy's worthless. And this guy just plain out stinks. Devontae Freeman's the better own, or even Gallman. So yeah. My buy low, sell high aspect. This one's tough because a lot of these players are like, why would I sell them? But Calvin Ridley, he's like my number one sell. Right now, he's like the wide receiver one in fantasy football. He's not going to keep that. Who knows what the Falcons are going to do as far as tanking? I'm worried myself because I own Matt Ryan. Who knows if they'll bench him someday or like what? Because they're already 0-3 and it's looking bad. But when Julio's back, he's not the best receiver in fantasy football. Right now, he's carrying that title though. So if you can trade him for like Hopkins or Adams or Thomas or any of them in a package, just do it. Kamara as well. This might sound crazy, but I don't buy into his hype. I think when Thomas is back, his value goes down a ton. If you could trade him for like Michael Thomas and a wide receiver one, I mean Michael Thomas and a running back one, or McCaffrey and a good wide receiver, like a bundle for like somebody who's hurt, it might be worth it for you. So definitely field out the market on him. And then Dalvin Cook as well. I saw him limping already last week. He's just bound to get hurt. Unfortunately, the man's made of glass. I like him a lot, but he's bound to get hurt. You should pick up Madison and trade him away, honestly, and just bank on the fact that he gets hurt. As messed up as that sounds, it just probably will happen. He's made of glass. I don't trust him in fantasy football. If you can trade him for a running back one, like a Derrick Henry or a Nick Chubb or something, and then maybe a wide receiver, like in a package, just try to do it. See what you could do. You don't have to trade him. None of these guys you have to trade. I'm just offering you chances to sell high. The Browns running backs, they're going to keep chipping away at each other. I don't know how well they're going to last throughout the whole year, so that's why I put them both here. Kareem Hunt's more of a sell, though. I like him a lot, but his value is capped until Chubb gets hurt. And right now he's been performing well, but when they play better defenses, he's not gonna. They still have to play Baltimore, I think twice, so it's gonna be rough. Diggs, he's way outperforming himself right now. I really like him. Who knows how long their connection will stay this well, Josh Allen and Diggs, but right now his value might be higher than he actually is. So if you can trade him and like Ronald Jones for Michael Thomas, like try it. That's like my point here is that I'll get into it with my buy lows, but I think you should buy low into other people and sell high on other people. Ertz, you could sell him high after this week. When Goddard comes back, his value is going to be lowered, but he might have a big week. Tyler Boyd has been doing really well, but T. Higgins is coming up, and A.J. Green's getting tons of targets. I would try to sell him if you can. And same with Ronald Jones. Fournette's just going to beat him out for the job. He's looking worse and worse every week. Sell him if you can. Get something else in exchange. My buy low guys are Michael Thomas. He's about to be healthy, but teams who are 0-3 or 1-2 might want to trade him. So go after him. I did it myself, and I think it's worth it. He's the best wide receiver in football, best wide receiver in fantasy. His Drew Brees. I mean, Drew Brees is looking like he needs him more than ever. So I think they're going to synchronize right away. McCaffrey, if you could trade if you're 2-1, 3-0, you have Dalvin Cook. Trade Dalvin Cook for McCaffrey. Like offer him that straight up, or for like McCaffrey and a crappy running back. Like try to do something like that because he's only going to be injured like three more weeks. And if you could somehow pull that off and sit on it, even if you become 3-3 or 4-2, you'll still be in great position. And McCaffrey gives you the better chance for a championship. Same with Devontae Adams. He's banged up. If you could somehow turn Calvin Ridley into that, try it. AJ Green, he's getting tons of targets. His value's low right now, but he is getting targets out the ass with Joe Burrow. Just try to get him. I think he still has tremendous value to him. But right now, people are probably going to sell him low, so try it. Joe Mixon, value can't be any lower right now. If you can get him for like a running back like 2, it might be worth it, or a flex running back, like nobody crazy. I would try it. Like if you could flip Kareem Hunt for Joe Mixon straight up, I think that might be a win for you. I just think Joe Mixon has too much to go, and I think the Bengals are going to get better throughout the year. So yeah, DJ Moore, he's going to break out. His value might be low right now. You might be able to flip some mediocre receivers into him. See what you can do. Chris Carson's banged up. Same thing. Devin Singletary, Zach Moss is gone. People were really shady about Singletary in the beginning, but I think Moss's time is like fading this year. I think Singletary's the guy. I would definitely buy into him. They got a weak schedule coming up, and he's going to get a lot of carries. And then Leonard Fournette, he had a rough week, so his value might be lower, but he's definitely still the guy in Tampa, and I think he's finally taking over that job. So yeah, that's it for this week. Let me know if you guys would like me to add anything in future videos. Let me know your scenarios. If you have anything that you want to ask, I'm always willing to answer. Hey, should I start or sit this guy? Hey, should I pick up this guy? Hey, should I make this trade? Let me know. I love fantasy football, and I really did a lot of research into this week. So we're definitely going to see another video next week. Please leave a comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I'm going to be doing these videos every week from now on. I hope this helps you win your week. I hope I help you win your league. I know I started in week 4, but I think there's enough time for me to still help you guys turn this around. Everybody, have a good one. Nutchers, signing out.